So I'm going to be predicting who will end up being the champion by the end of 2024. So starting off, we got to go at the flyweight division. Now this is going to be a pretty basic prediction, but I do think Alejandro Pantoja will end the year as champion. There is people I could see beating him, don't get me wrong, but I do just think probably his next fight will be the winner of Albazi versus Moreno. And I think he'll beat either of them guys. He's already beat Moreno 3 times. I think he would beat Moreno again. I don't really see what Albazi can really do to him either. So I think Pantoja will win that. And then who's next for him? Manel Cape, Kai Kara France. Like, maybe Cape could beat him. Like, Cape did pretty decent in their first fight, but that was a while ago. So maybe, Manel Cape is younger, so maybe he's improved more than Pantoja. But I don't even know if Cape will get a title shot next. I think he would need to win another fight. Like maybe they do Makai if they just rush him up there or something. But I do think Pantoja probably ends the year. Like, let me just have a quick squiz at who could even fight him in the flyweight division. Like, I just don't really see who would beat him at this point. Maybe Pantoja does slow down because he's like 34 years old as a flyweight, so maybe he's going to leave his prime soon. Like, just beat Royval. He beats Kara France. He beats Nicolau. He'd beat Albazi. Figueiredo's out of the division. Moreno, he'd beat him again. So I think Pantoja ends the year as champion. So that's just my prediction there. I know it's not the most interesting one, but I do just think he'll remain champion. But then moving on, we have the bantamweight division. Now this one is going to be a changing. This is going to be a new champion. Now this does depend on a few things. Maybe Sean O'Malley goes in there and beats Cheeto Vera, and then he fights Corey Sandhagen, and then maybe he doesn't fight again for the rest of the year, and that is a possibility. Even though, in my opinion, it shouldn't be Corey Sandhagen next. I think no matter who wins O'Malley Vera, I think the winner is probably going to be facing the winner of Dvalishvili versus Cejudo, and I do think Dvalishvili will beat Henry Cejudo, and if he does go in there and beat Henry Cejudo, I think Merab runs through Cheeto Vera. I think Cheeto Vera is the easiest matchup in the division for Merab Dvalishvili. Like, we've seen Cheeto Vera's takedown defense, not really the greatest. This is the same guy who was getting taken down at will by Corey Sandhagen. I know Merab doesn't really have the best top control, but I don't really see how Cheeto would beat him. Maybe he could get a last-minute knockout or something, but I do think Merab would just go in there, beat him up, take him down, hold him down, and yeah, I think he would just win a decision there, a very clear, lopsided decision. And even O'Malley could probably give him some problems with his length and everything. I still do think Merab would probably beat Sean O'Malley. So yeah, I'm taking Merab Dvalishvili to end the year as champion, but I don't know, who knows, maybe Aljo loses to Qatar, and then Aljo moves back down to bantamweight, and then, Merab's like, refuses to fight for the title or something like that. That could happen. Merab, very selfless man, really loves Aljo. Then we have the UFC featherweight division, and I'm saying Volkanovski keeps the belt. Now, there is a possibility he loses to Ilia Topuria, but you have to give Alexander Volkanovski a rematch regardless. So there is a possibility he loses the belt to Ilia Topuria, and then, Topuria takes the belt, and then maybe Volk reclaims it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Volk will beat Ilia Topuria in February. It is a very tough matchup for him. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not acting like it's a foregone conclusion that Volk's going to win, but if Volk goes in there and beats Ilia Topuria, who the fuck else is there to even give him problems at featherweight? I know people will say Evloev. Evloev's overrated. Evloev really isn't that guy. He's not really that good in my opinion. Yeah, he beat Dan Ige, but at this point, fucking who hasn't beat Dan Ige? He did beat Dan Ige very impressively, but he's having competitive fights with fucking Mike Grundy. Like, he's having competitive... That was his Darren Till impression, by the way. He's having competitive fights with Mike Grundy, I forgot what the guy's name is, the Peruvian guy who's in Bellator now, Barzola, I think his name is, arguably lost that fight. He has competitive fights, he almost gets caught in subs on almost every fight, almost got knocked out by Hakeem Dawodu in the third round. I just don't think Evloev would be able to give Volk any problems. He's just a smaller, worse Islam Makhachev. Like, he's smaller, he doesn't have a finishing threat, he's not very good as a like, not even close to being as good of a striker as Islam. He's smaller, former bantamweight. I think Volkanovski would beat the fuck out of him. So I don't really think there's anyone. And also, I think Arnold Allen's gonna beat Evloev. So like, I don't know. There's no one I could really see giving Volk problems unless he just really slows down early. Slows down with age or something like that. So I'm gonna say Volk does retain the belt this year, but it does scare me coming off that Islam Makhachev fight. But yeah, you know. But then speaking of the lightweight division and Islam Makhachev, I think Islam Makhachev retains the belt for 2024. I think Islam Makhachev will stay champion. I think he beats Justin Gaethje if they fight. He probably only fights 2 times next year, maybe in March. Hopefully the Saudi Arabia card. I know it's a fight night, but it's in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabians, they got all the fucking Arab money. Like, they got all the fucking money in the world. If you know the Busta Rhymes song, I remember that song from GTA, The Ballad of Gay Tony, with Yusuf. But yeah, I do think Islam Makhachev would beat Justin Gaethje. It is probably his toughest fight. I know that's crazy to say because Justin Gaethje, once he gets taken down, he doesn't have any defensive grappling, but he does a really good takedown defense. He has a really good power edge. He's a powerful guy. He's aggressive. I could just see him maybe breaking or KOing Islam Makhachev, but at the very least, I do think Islam would beat him. And I think Islam runs through Charles Oliveira easier than last time. I think Islam is improving quicker than Charles Oliveira at this point. So I do think Islam Makhachev beats Charles Oliveira in a rematch. I think he beats Arman Sarukian. I think he would KO Arman Sarukian. So, like, I don't really see who can really give him any problems in 2024 unless some dark horse rises up. But yeah, I think Islam Makhachev, unless he fucking gets injured in a fight or is out for a year or something, I think he does retain the belt. And then we're moving on to the welterweight division. Now this one's a fucking tough one. All right. Now hear me out here. All right. Now this one's definitely probably going to be a very controversial one, and I realize time line wise it might not match up, but there is a fight happening in March with Jack Della Maddalena and Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns is the number 4 guy in the world. Like, that is a highly ranked fighter. I would say beating Gilbert Burns is much better than beating Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, especially because, Gilbert Burns beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to go in there. He's going to KO Gilbert Burns in the first round with a jab. Maybe jab him up a bit, hurt him, maybe get him with a body shot. I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to go in there and KO Gilbert Burns. I think Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards is probably going to happen early next year. I think Leon Edwards is going to beat Bilal Muhammad. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to get sidelined because of his ankle injury. I don't think he's going to fight anyone during that time. And I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to jump up. I think he's going to skyrocket past Shavkat Rakhmonov with a really good performance win over Gilbert Burns. That'll be 7 fights in a row in the UFC. And I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to leapfrog Shavkat Rakhmonov. And I think if he does fight Leon Edwards, I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to knock out Leon Edwards. And I think he's going to end the year as champion. Now, why do I think this fight's going to happen? Like, I know it's crazy to say this, but Jack Della Maddalena and Leon Edwards are both under the Chosen Adversaries. So they're under the same management. Tim Simpson manages them both. So, Tim Simpson is going to want to have 2 of his guys fight for the championship in a main event because that's more money in his pocket. If you're a manager and both of your fighters are fighting in a championship fight, that just means more money for you. So they're gonna push for Jack Della Maddalena. I'm almost sure of it. They'll push for that fight. We'll get Jack Della Maddalena, Leon Edwards, and I think Jack Della Maddalena knocks out Leon Edwards. I really do. I do believe this. I know people talk about JDM's grappling and all this. If he's not going for guillotines, he's actually a pretty good grappler. He has good get-ups. Obviously, I'm not saying he's an offensive wrestler or anything like that, but he does have very good get-ups. He's very reminiscent of like Robert Whittaker with how he can get up to his feet really well. Good submission defense. I think this is a real big dark horse pick, and maybe I'm a bit biased, but I generally do see JDM getting that belt next year, especially if Leon Edwards is still champion. Maybe this doesn't timeline-wise work out, and that is a possibility, but I'm going to go with Jack Della Maddalena as champion. by the end of 2024 after KOing brutally out cold Leon Edwards. Then we have the middleweight division. I'm going with, there is a fight at UFC 297, and honestly, I think that winner of that fight decides who holds the belt for the rest of the year. And I'm saying Dricus du Plessis is going to be the champion by the end of 2024. Now, I know the Wolf, Khamzat Chimaev, is in the waiting, but hear me out, man. Dricus du Plessis might be a nightmare matchup for him. He's strong as an ox, and I know he did get top mounted by Derek Brunson, but this guy's so fucking strong, he just sort of pushes his way off. He's very composed out there. Like, if you have him in bad positions, he doesn't really, freak out to it. And we did see Khamzat Chimaev go out there and maul Kamaru Usman badly in that first round, but then we did see him sort of slow down. Maybe it was because of that broken hand, torn ligament in his hand, or whatever it was. But Dricus du Plessis is just going to be pushing the pressure and pushing the pressure. People don't realize how good of a pressure fighter Dricus du Plessis is. He's slowing down, but it's because he's coming out with such a fiery pace that people can't really handle it. I don't think Khamzat will be able to handle that pace from Dricus du Plessis, especially in a 5-rounder. I feel like, I know people talk about Dricus' cardio, but, since he got the nose surgery, he looked like he wasn't gassed at all against Robert Whittaker. And he's strong. He might be stronger than Khamzat Chimaev. This is a guy who could really easily fight at light heavyweight, and which is crazy because he was a former welterweight, as was Khamzat Chimaev. But I don't know. I think Dricus is a nightmare matchup for him. I think he can catch him on the chin. I think he could just reverse positions. He's a strong guy. He's a really good grappler in his own right. People don't realize Dricus is a grappler. I just think he'll fucking chat his way to victory against Khamzat Chimaev, and I don't know who I can really see beating Dricus at this point. I know he fights ugly, he's losing most of the fights until he's not, but that's just a dangerous guy. That's why you got to pick him. So I'm going with Dricus du Plessis to end the year of the UFC middleweight champion. Maybe Sean Strickland goes in there and fucking kills him, and then, this is going to fucking age horribly, but that's what I'm going with. Now I've got the UFC light heavyweight division. Now this one's interesting, because this could go so many ways. When is Alex Pereira going to fight Jamal Hill? We do not know. How is Johnny Walker versus Magomed Ankalaev going to go? We do not know. But what I do think I do know is we have a fight in April between Alexander Rakic and Yuri Prohaska. I think Alexander Rakic is going to beat Yuri Prohaska, and I think Alexander Rakic is going to end the year as champion. I think Jesus Christ. I think Magomed Ankalaev might end up getting the belt by the end of the year, but I do think Alexander Rakic will end the year as champion. Sorry, I meant to say Ankalaev will get the championship some point during the year, but I do think Alexander Rakic will end the year as champion. Maybe he gets booked in early next year, and then that completely fucks over this list, but I do think Rakic is going to be the champion. I think he's going to beat Yuri Prohaska. I've always thought that. I think he's going to go out there, beat Prohaska, and then you could argue he gets a title shot. I know he lost to Jan, but that was a freak injury. So he beats, Prohaska's the former champ. He beats Prohaska, maybe in impressive fashion. Maybe he gets a KO. I know some people say he's not the most entertaining fighter, but he could go out there, KO Prohaska, who's got a very unsafe style. And then we're talking about Alexander Rakic versus maybe Pereira, and I think he beats Pereira. I think generally he can beat Pereira. I think Rakic can go out there, and I definitely think he could beat Magomed Ankalaev. I think he's Magomed Ankalaev's toughest matchup. Good leg kicker, good takedown defense, can grapple himself. I think he would beat Magomed Ankalaev. So I'm going to go with Alexander Rakic. Plus, he's just freakishly fucking athletic. He might be the most athletic guy at the light heavyweight division. Guy's a fucking freak athlete. So I'm going with Alexander Rakic to end the year as champion. And then we got the heavyweight division. I think John Jones is going to vacate the belt after the Stipe Miocic fight. And I think Tom Aspinall is going to reign as champion for a very long time. So, yeah. Maybe Tom Aspinall does fight John Jones, and I think he would beat John Jones at this point. John Jones is older. He hasn't fought a heavyweight like Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall is bigger, better than Cyril Gane, much better grappler, has takedown defense. He's a very stylistically tough matchup for John Jones because he has the hands that John Jones isn't. John Jones doesn't do good against boxers. And I'll say it every single time. Long, tall boxers, same size as him, he doesn't do well against them. And Tom Aspinall is actually bigger than John Jones. So that's like a nightmare matchup for John Jones. I know people don't want to hear that because Bones is fucking unbeatable, Oh, don't bet against Bones. Yes, John Jones is one of the best fighters of all time. One of the greatest fighters of all time. but he's not an unbeatable fucking deity. Like, there has been times when he's clearly almost lost, and I think Tom Aspinall is better than Dominic Reyes. I think he's really quick for that heavyweight weight class. I didn't like what I was seeing from John Jones in the striking against Cyril Gane. I know we didn't get to see much of it, but he was looking really slow. Wasn't looking too good in the striking from what we've seen. And I think Tom Aspinall would beat him, man. I really do. I generally do believe that. That is maybe one of my hottest takes, but I really do think Tom Aspinall would go out there and beat John Jones. But regardless, I think John Jones is going to vacate the belt anyway and retire, so we probably won't even get to see that fight, unfortunately. But I do think Tom Aspinall ends the year as champion. So these are all my men's champions who I think are going to win. And then for the women divisions, Weili Zhang will probably still be champion. Erin Blanchfield will take the belt, and Bruno Silva will probably still be will probably win the championship. So yeah, there you go. They're my women's titles as well. I'm not even going to go into them because women's MMA is so fucking unpredictable. Who fucking knows? We could be talking about fuck yeah, I don't even know. Norma Dumont, bantamweight champ, flyweight, fucking Carla Esparza. She moves up, becomes flyweight champ. Strawweight. I don't know, Rose Namajunas wins the belt back. I don't fucking know. Women's divisions, I don't even know about that shit, man. I'm a men's MMA analyst. I can't analyze women's MMA. It's too unpredictable. But regardless, these are my predictions. Let me know your predictions for your champions for next year. I want to hear them. I want to hear all of your predictions. I want to know who you guys think is going to be champion next year in every single division. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. And also the BMF title. I think Justin Gaethje retains his BMF belt. I don't think he loses it. So yeah, that's also there as well. Just a shout out to the BMF Championship. But anyway, that's all I've got to say. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Put on the notifications. Leave a like. The likes always help me in the algorithm. And if more people see my videos, that means I can put out more of these videos and get closer to making my dream of, having a career out of this. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Cheerio.